guys, thanks for tuning in. This is OPTIBOTIMUS coming to you with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Generations Voyager class Brainstorm. Finally, after years and years, Headmasters returned to the Transformer franchise. And honestly, we owe it to one little boy for Hasbro finally bringing these to us again. A little guy at BotCon 2014 named Ethan.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is Ethan here at BotCon 2014. He is the one responsible for making sure that Headmasters are brought back to us.
Went up to Hasbro and said, hey, when are you going to give us Headmasters again? And they were like, well, you know what? That's not a bad idea. We think we'll do that for you. And then later on, they revealed this guy. So, Ethan, thank you, buddy. This review is dedicated to you, sir. But as you can see for the packaging, it's part of the Thrilling 30 line. You got the nice Autobot logo there. You got Skybite right there. You got figure number 9 in Series 2. Then you come around here to the back. You got his tech specs, as well as his robot mode and his jet mode. Now what's interesting is they, Head converts to pilot, but they don't actually refer to this as Arcana, which is interesting. I'm kind of curious the angle that they're taking, whether they're going to take the Headmaster angle or if they're going to go with the Japanese angle. But we'll touch on that here in a little bit. But also you have his bio where it says, a genius scientist and diabolical inventor. Brainstorm develops advanced weaponry for the Autobots. Although many of his inventions are deemed too devastating for use in actual combat, it's possible his laboratory itself is his most dangerous creation. Brainstorm frequently ignores proper safety protocols, and an unwary visitor to his lab runs a high risk of triggering some half-finished doomsday weapon. In spite of this, he is allowed to continue his work, proof of just how valuable Brainstorm is to the Autobot cause. Now this is a figure that a lot of people have been really looking forward to for a couple reasons. I mean, it's Brainstorm, but as I said, it's also a Headmaster. So one thing that I've noticed, his head does not look like it's really all that secure in there. It's kind of flippity-floppity, but for the packaging, that's about it. And you got a nice image here on the side of him as well. But yeah, that's it for the packaging. So without further ado, let's get him open and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Brainstorm open up and out of his packaging. And starting off first with his Headmaster, getting this little guy out of the way, you can see that it's actually pretty nice looking. I'm really happy with how this turned out, but there are a lot of problems with it. The first thing being his head. As you can see, it is on a ball joint, so you get a nice range of motion with it, but it's very loose and floppy. I mean, you can see just how floppy that is. And the problem is this serves as the neck joint for when he's in his actual head mode. And when he's on the main body, that causes some problems. So I'll have to figure out how to tighten that up. Maybe take the screw out and do something on the inside there. The other problem that I have, so that's a quality control issue. The other quality control issue that I have, well, I have a couple quality control issues. Number one, you can see that his legs are actually assembled backwards. These are the front of his shins and obviously his feet. For some reason, they pinned it on backwards. The only way that I can fix that is to take that pin out and reverse that. Now, I don't have the tools to be able to do that, so I'm kind of stuck with his legs being backwards. Now I can take it here, it just slides out, and rotate this around, and that would put the feet on the proper way. But the problem is you can see a little nub here in the back of his butt. It's like his butt cheek or something. When it comes up, it hits that there, so you're not really supposed to put it on that way. You can force it, but in doing so, it kind of makes this whole thing slide out a little bit. It's not meant to go this way. You can see that based on the way that the molding is here, that these are the front of his thighs, and then you come around here to the back, and those are the back of his thighs. The other problem that I have is you can see the paint on here really seems very thin, and it has been scraped off mostly from his arms right here. You just bring his arms down and they rub on there, and that really rubs the paint off, so that really does kind of stink. I really do like the design of this. I just think that a couple of the problems are a little inexcusable. Now, to transform them, you just take this and you rotate this around. Now, obviously, if your figure is assembled correctly, these are going to be on the inside, but there you have his head mode. And some people have complained because the arms here, and I guess I can see it, you got the big side panel here, which really makes the arms look weird. Number one, the arms are way too long. You can see where the elbow is, that if you brought this down and rotated that down, I mean, his arms would be down to here, which is nuts. But I don't mind these little side panels, because when you have him in his head mode, that looks pretty cool. I do actually really like that. Now, for comparison, getting him in his little robot mode, here's the G1 version, and you can see color difference aside, you got a big difference here. The original is massive compared to the new one, and he's like looking like, oh, look, Daddy. Get his head straight so it's not as creepy. But it's just the size really is pretty extreme when you look at it. Getting these guys both in their head modes, you can see a big difference with the actual sizes. So while his G1 robot form is smaller than this one, the guy's head's smaller. So it's kind of a weird back and forth. Now, also much like the G1 toy, you can actually have Arcana. Well, I shouldn't call him Arcana because I did find out why they don't refer to him as Arcana, and that's because in the recent IDW comics, Brainstorm isn't a headmaster. He's just a crazy scientist that doesn't have a head that comes off. So this is just a throwback to that original Brainstorm character in the toy itself. But like I said, the original toy had a cockpit that you could open up. This one has, it's a little scraped right there. And you can take your headmaster guy, you can sit him in there, close the cockpit, and you can actually have him piloting the jet mode as well. Now, for the jet mode, it is very simple. Now, people have complained about it, but honestly, it really isn't that much different than the original G1 toy. A lot of the colors are very much the same. You got the wings that are in this grayish color. Same with these wings up here. You got this bluish, whereas the G1 is a little bit different of a teal color. You got his arms right here along the side. I mean, you got the guns right here. A lot of it is very, very similar, so it's a very nice throwback to it. So while it's simple, it really does nicely kind of up that original G1 toy and give us, well, an update for it. And I think it looks really nice. One thing that's weird is you come around here to the back, it's like these are kind of thrusters that kind of angle down, which is weird. I mean, you can kind of angle them up, but when you do that, it makes these bottom sections kind of pop out. Now, that actually kind of makes it look a little bit cooler if you leave it like that, I guess. I don't know. But vehicle-wise, this is basically it. I do like that he's got nice Autobot logos actually printed onto his wings. Now, for comparison, here is the G1 version, and getting the cockpit closed. I have to keep the wings up a little bit because mine are, you can see it, unfortunately, droops down. So I got to keep mine on an angle upward, but I think it looks kind of cool. But again, you can see that a very similar looking design. They don't have the same kind of weapon looking thing here on the wings that the original one did, but all in all, very similar in terms of the look. He's got the guns here that the original one had. You can see that the color difference is not terrible, but this is more of a bluish, whereas this is more aqua, I guess. He has more of an amber color cockpit, whereas this one is a yellow, but I would almost venture to bet that when Takara releases this, it'll probably have this color. I like that he's got this rub sign right here on here. I might actually get like a rub sign myself and put it right up there, or maybe put it right on there or something like that. I kind of dig that. But I mean, all in all, everything else is basically the same. But you can see that, again, like I said, while the head part is much smaller than the G1 version, the actual G1 toy itself is considerably smaller than this new guy. Now, to transform him, first we're going to come around here, tuck the landing gear under. You do have weapons that can remove. He can hold them and stuff, but we'll touch on that here in a little bit. I'm just going to leave him here as part of the transformation. First, I'm just going to angle all of these down like so. Come around here to this side. This tabs in right along the side here. Just loosen that up. Separate this, bring this down, bring this down. Then you have to bend him out at the actual hip. Do that on that side as well so that you can get clearance for this section to detach. Rotate around, that'll actually peg down. Bring his legs down and straighten them out. I'll usually keep them separated by one ratchet joint. Just give him a little bit of spread to his legs. Lift this up, rotate that. Bring that down, up, down, like so. Bring these arms down. Then this section here flips forward. It doesn't go all the way forward. That's as far as it goes, so don't try to really force it. Rotate that out, bring that, then you can rotate that around. Do that on this side as well. Rotate this down here at the elbow. Separate this. Bring out his hand. Close that. Rotate that around. Bring that down just like so. Then take the cockpit,
take this guy out. Now this is absolutely terrific, and again, really nicely goes to how that original G1 toy and character actually was. Some people have complained about this. I'll touch on this in a little bit. You want to make sure that this is in his head mode, and then you come around here to the top, you peg this in, and when you do, you get his tech specs popping out, which is absolutely terrific. I love it. Then you lift this back up, and there you have Brainstorm in his robot mode. And here in his robot mode is absolutely where this guy shines. Hasbro really nailed it on this and knocked it clear out of the ballpark. They really did a great job of capturing how the character looks now in his updated form and nicely homaging that original figure and toy. Like I said, in the new comics, he isn't a Headmaster, so this gimmick does not exist. But they obviously put it in there because, well, it's a generation toy, and it's meant to celebrate all the different types of Transformers that we've gotten. And despite the fact that Headmasters really wasn't something that was very prominent in the US cartoon, they really are an integral part in the history of Transformers just in general. Now, for a comparison, setting him here he is next to his G1 self. And again, you can see a lot of similarities. Now, transformation-wise, you could leave these out if you wanted to. You can also do that here. I actually think that the IDW Comics has those out like that, but I don't particularly like it. I like leaving them angled back. It's how I've always liked transforming this guy. It just kind of streamlines him a little bit. But like I was saying, the head for this is ridiculously big, way bigger than the new one. But the new figure is ridiculously bigger than the old one. So it's really a very funny kind of flip-flop. Now, the other gimmick in terms of this new one with the Headmaster is obviously with the tech specs. And you can see that when you take this out, you put that back in, and the thing that's really very cool is the tech specs are almost identical. You have full-on speed. His strength is a little bit lower, but his intelligence is much higher. And you can see that that carries over, and I dig it. I think that's a wonderful touch. Now, one thing that people, or I should say that I have a complaint with is this. Like I said, Arcana actually has a very loose ball joint himself, so this in general then makes this very loose and floppy. I like the fact that they decided to give him a ball joint so that you can get a nice range of motion with it, but I really would have preferred it if the head was stationary and they just let you rotate the head. Like if they could actually, well, I'm going to show you how to do this. You take this section right here, you have to push this down, and then you can pull this up just like so. If they made this entire intersection here rotate, that I think would have been better than giving this a ball joint. I appreciate it because it gives a little bit more articulation to Arcane himself, but I think that this is just a better gimmick if you don't have that ball joint in there. It's personal preference, I guess, but I think that that would have been a much better way to go. You can still have it rotate, and I mean, honestly, you don't even get that much. I mean, you get a little bit up and down, side to side, but I mean, if you could just have it rotate, that would be great, and I'd probably be happy with that. Now, zooming in here, I do want to touch on this. A lot of people are having problems with this. Again, like I showed you, you push this gray section down to get this kind of out of the way. Pull this down, and then you pull this head up. One thing that I'm seeing with a lot of different figures is this head is getting stuck. What I think it is doing, and this is what I did on mine. This little nub right here, you got this section, it's come on, focus. Hopefully it's staying focused pretty good. This section right here has a little tiny flap right down here. That actually grips on this section right here with the little hole bit there. So when you're putting that in, this is, get his arms out of the way. When you're putting that in, you want to make sure, number one, that you don't push down too far. You only push down to the point where that little section is covered up. Then if you want to get the head out, again, push it down, pull this up. But some people are having a hard time. So what you really need to do is take something like a razor or something, and right here, just on the very front, and it's kind of hard to see. Maybe let me use this. When you push right there, this piece right there, that's the piece that's moving. You can see it move right there. That little lip right there needs to be shaved down a little. And when you do it, it can be removed fairly easily. Now, The problem is, like this one, it's a little bit floppy of a head joint, so it's a little bit hard to get it on there. But that, for me, fixes the problem. I know some friends were shaving some paint along the side. I know Bolt Matrix pulled his off and he broke the head off of Arcana. And Pia was just bending the head forward as he was like pushing this down, and then he was pulling it forward to pull it out. All of those are good tips, obviously, but I think the biggest thing is that little lip right in the very front that kind of grabs onto the back of Arcana's head where that whole section is. That's what needs to get shaved down. And if you do that, I think it'll be fine. I don't think it's really all that bad. You can see that I'm pulling it off fairly easily. But for the rest of his articulation, obviously the head's on a ball joint. The shoulders here, you can rotate them all the way around. I mean, you have to put them like this, really close to the body, or out like that. Now, I kind of don't like that, so I rotate here at the upper part of the bicep, and then I bring his arms in. I think it makes it look a little bit better. I don't like them being that far out. I guess I should angle down some so you can see everything that I'm doing. But you got that. You got double joints here at the elbow. Most of it's due in parts of the transformation. He does have a wrist swivel that just moves in and out, but again, that's part of the transformation. This is a little bit loose, though, on both of these as well. You can see that just kind of flops down, and that kind of flops down, and kind of looks ugly. These little pieces here move outward so that you can get his legs moving, a nice range of motion, but unfortunately all they do is rotate out that far, so you're not getting a heck of a lot of motion with it. But I mean, really, that should be sufficient for you guys, I think. And then this little cod piece here also does move forward so that you can move his legs all the way forward like that. If you keep him out like that, it really doesn't affect it too much, but you can still get a little bit more range of motion. He rotates here at the upper part of the thigh, bends here at the knee, the foot moves forward and back, and it also does pivot side to side. So you get a fantastic range of motion with this guy that really allows you to pull off just about any pose that you may want. Now, like I said, his weapons back here, they can detach. Get this off. If you really wanted to have him hold a gun, you can bring this out. That fits right in there nicely. For me, you don't need to have him holding a gun. I mean, it's Brainstorm. He's going to be thinking, and he's going to be brainstorming. So just stick that right back on the side there. Get that in there. But I mean, this is a really great figure. The most problems that I have are really with Arcana, and that's kind of unfortunate, but in this mode you lose a lot of that. So the overall package I still think is wonderful. Now, to transform him back again, he is very, very simple. We're going to pull these forearm pieces out. We're going to rotate his fists down and inside there. Do that on the opposite side as well. Bring that around, and then you just rotate these around like that. Then you want to bring these up. Well, let's fold that. Yeah, we'll worry about that here in a second because it's easier to line up the side piece. Go ahead and remove the head again. Push this down. Push or pull this up. It does feel a little bit stiff. Maybe I will shave a little bit more down. Then you open this up, and then this section right here just lifts up, and it becomes the back of his chair. So do that. Close that. Well, you can leave it open if you wanted to put Arcana back in there, but you don't need to. Angle this down. You're going to spread these. Take these shins, fold that up, bring that down. Do that there as well. Then you bend these up and around. It's kind of funny how it just fits over everything. Then you collapse these in. Bring this down like that, and then you can see you got two little pegs here and here that peg into his back there and there. So just fold that all the way up to that lines up. Do that on that side as well. Bring this whole section around. That'll clip into place. Then you basically just line all these little bits up here. So rotate this. This will rotate all the way. There we go. Then you got that little tab on the inside here. That pegs on the inside there. If you have it lined up properly, it slides in very nice and easy. So again, rotate at this lower joint all the way down and then fold it under. It'll create a little bit of an angle there. So bring that up. Where's that peg? There it is. Get that in there like so. Fold out the wing. Fold this up. Fold this up. Fold that up like so. And this is on a hair trigger. There's no question about it. So that stays up, and then you just sneeze on that and it'll come undone. But there you have them. And I guess this is kind of hard for me to do, always get this little landing gear out. But pull that out, straighten this, this all out, and here you have him back in his jet looking mode. And finally, one of the other pieces that I want to touch on here with Arcana is he actually has shoulder ball joints, so you can actually get his arms to extend out just a little bit. It pulls it away from the body, so you don't have maybe as much of a problem rubbing against his thighs. And I do want to thank my buddy Pax Cybertron, who posted pictures with his arms that were angled out like that. I'm like, hey, well, I never noticed that before. But there you have it. So Brainstorm, guys. Now, this really is an absolutely fantastic figure. There's no question that there's problems with it, but I think the majority of the major ones are things that we can fix. Now, some would argue that on an official product, we shouldn't have to fix things like that, and I'll grant you that. But honestly, how many times have we gotten figures where the ball joints are a little bit loose that we have to slightly tighten them? Or sometimes clearance isn't right, so there's some plastic we have to shave. I think that's the same case with this guy. This really was one of the most anticipated figures of 2014. And despite what some people may say, I really do think that it's lived up to that. I'm absolutely thrilled to have this, and I really do hope that they give us more. I'm very hopeful that this sells well and that the demand for more Headmasters is really out there. We've gotten Target Masters, but like I said, this is the first time that we've gotten a Headmaster in a long time. So all that being said, I absolutely recommend picking this figure up. Hopefully some of the quality control problems that I have with Arcana you guys won't have. And if you do have problems with the head not releasing, try doing my little tip. Don't take off a lot. A little bit. Maybe shave a small piece off, test it, see how that is. If that doesn't work, shave off a little bit more. Less is more in this case. Don't overdo it, because that could ruin the whole thing. He should be hitting retail stores fairly soon, so keep your eyes open. But if you can't find him, obviously there's always Big Bad Toy Store. So all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You go to Big Bad Toy Store where you can pick this guy up and finally have an updated Headmaster in your collection. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been OPTIBOTIMUS. Don't forget that you can keep in touch with me by liking my Facebook page at facebook.com/TeamBotimus and by following me over on Twitter at twitter.com/OPTIBOTIMUS. Also, I'd encourage you to check out my new website at OPTIBOTIMUSreviews.com, where you can see all my videos from the previous week, see what I have coming up for future release, and also get your very own OPTIBOTIMUS t-shirt. And finally, I'd also really appreciate it, guys, that if you did like this review, don't forget to please like, comment, and share this video. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.